everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Production Meeting Podcast, the first episode of 2023, episode 9, with your host, Jess.
And Zavi. And again, welcome to the start of a brand new year. And again, exciting stuff to come. We're going to get straight into today's episode, and we're going to talk about some news. So as a DC fan, it's never boring. Every day there's a new bit of news or information. But what has been confirmed, literally straight after we recorded the last episode of the podcast, which if you haven't checked out, please go and check. Henry Cavill is officially not playing Superman anymore, which is heartbreaking for me. I really thought he was going to stay. And I think for me, what upsets me so much was how he was treated, with how at the end of October, he literally announced he's back. And then literally over a month later, he put out his statement announcing he is no longer playing Superman. So that really does suck. And to be honest with you, I'm glad we're recording this episode far from when that news was announced, so I've had time to digest it. Like, I know that, many different actors are born to, play these roles and stuff, and there's different interpretations and representations. But I think what upsets me more is I think he just wasn't given enough time to shine. And that's why I think that really hurt me. And all I can say, Henry, is I wish you the best and thank you for the films that you have been in and playing Superman. And I will always admire you. And ever since you have been, I've admired you more and more over time. So that's upsetting. Ezra Miller may stay in the DC universe. But what I'm also going to say is that I'm not going to be talking about any more DC news until James Gunn and Peter Safran have announced their slate of DC properties with films, TV shows, and games, which apparently there should be some reveals at the end of the month, which I'll talk about more, because as I said, there's so many reports, there's so many rumors, we don't know what's going on. So I think it's only fair we just talk about it when he just gives it to us straight up. But again, as a DC fan, I'm intrigued, but also, again, as I said, gutted, and I am a little bit anxious to see where the DC future goes. Not with the Batman and Joker universe, lucky they're not being touched, but with the DC universe itself. So that's my quick bit of news out of the way. Now, Jess, you would like to talk about some top fives with Netflix, so on to you.
Yeah, so as we all know, Netflix always do their top 10 films and shows. So I took those from the site and I put it down to the top 5 to make it a bit quicker and more interesting to you guys. And I think the top 5s this time round are actually really, really good. So I'm just gonna run through. So first of all, the top 5 films. Number 5 was Tyler Perry's Acrimony. I've not seen this one, so I'm looking forward to watching it. Can't wait. Number 4 is Knives Out. This is quite an old one with Daniel Craig, and looks very, very good. I haven't watched it either, but then there's also the new one which has come out. But yeah, number 3, The Croods. I watched that a while back, and it's so funny, really good, really great little cartoon. Number 2, Glass Onion, Knives Out. So that's the newer version of Knives Out, which was at number 4. And so yeah, 2 very, very good films, and cannot wait to watch them. My parents absolutely loved it. So I can't wait to watch. And at number 1, when it comes to Netflix top 5 films, is The Pale Blue Eye. So I was very intrigued at the cover of this one. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm very, very intrigued, and I'll be watching that soon, and I will be sure to give you guys a bit of a review on my reviews account, link in the description, and I'll talk to you guys about it in an up and coming episode of the podcast. So yeah, that's Netflix's top 5 films. And their top 5 shows. Number 5, Madoff, the Monster of Wall Street. Very intrigued at that show. Number 4, Emily in Paris. There's new seasons of that coming out now, so be sure to go check those out. That also looks really good. I'm gonna watch that soon. I have so much to watch. It's crazy.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Literally. I haven't watched a lot recently because I've been ill, but I'll be catching up very, very soon. At number three, we have Wednesday, which I have watched. I have watched Wednesday. It's so good. If you haven't checked out Wednesday already, it's okay. I'm not gonna say anymore. It's just go watch it. That's also got a new season coming out soon. It's not out yet. We don't know when it's gonna come out, but it's coming soon. So stay tuned. Cannot wait to see it. At number two is Kaleidoscope, which I actually started watching recently. And actually, I found it because I love the concept. I love that they're doing each episode is a different color, like a kaleidoscope. If you don't know already, a kaleidoscope is one of those tubes that you look through and you see all these patterns, and you can twist the tube and it changes the pattern. It's very, very cool. I love kaleidoscopes. So it's really nice they've made this kind of series that goes through like each episode being a different color, and I think they're trying to stick with like the lighting to be each color. So with the first episode, which I've started, they've got like yellow tones. I mean, not every shot is yellow, which confuses me. We've got like a shot of a computer screen at the very beginning which is blue, which confuses me a bit, but that's quite cool that they're kind of bringing in the colors in the shots and visually, as well as using that for the name of each episode. So I can't wait to watch the rest of it, but it so far isn't looking great. And at number one when it comes to TV shows on Netflix is Ginny and Georgia. Now, a lot of my friends have watched this one, and there is a new season out now, and they're all watching it, and they're saying it's amazing. So I guess I've got to watch that one too. But yeah, that was the top 5 of films and shows on Netflix, and go and check them all out because they all look really, really good, to be fair. By the way, this is all just UK shows, so if you're from the UK and you have access to these shows, go and check them out. They sound really cool. Wednesday's really cool, probably my favorite out of the whole list. So yeah, go check them out.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to get on to our recently watched segment. So as Jess did mention, she has started Kaleidoscope, but I think she'll give her full thoughts and opinions when she has watched more and more episodes, which I think is a fair enough thing to do, and that's how you should treat a show. You should give your full opinion when you have watched the majority of it. Now, for the recently watched segment, for the past couple of episodes, I haven't watched a lot, but I can say and I can confirm today I have made up for that, and I have watched a lot of films and shows. This all started from the 23rd of December onwards now to the 9th of January. As a film fan, I just haven't, it gets, I need to be in the right space. And luckily, I don't know why, during the Christmas time, I was just saying, right, let's just watch a lot of films. Now, I'm going to go into quickly just like my ratings, because I do have ratings for all of them. I'm not going to go into in depth for all of them, and the reason why, because we will be here. It'll be way too long of an episode. But I want to mention my ratings is like anything above 5 is average. If it's above 5, it's good. Below 5, it's bad. And there's nothing I would say that's really bad. So below 5, my opinions at the end of the day, I won't get into spoilers, especially for the first one, which is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Now, I gave this a 6.5 out of 10. The reason why for that is because I loved the premise, and I loved the new location and the setting in the film. I thought it was very intriguing visually. I thought also Daniel Craig's voice and performance was better in Glass Onion. The reason why I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 was because there were some really good twists and turns. But for me, I think compared to the original, which I would give it 8 out of 10, I would say the overall climax was a tiny bit underwhelming. I can't lie. But I thought overall it was a solid film, and it was it's great to see it, doing really well on Netflix, as Jess has stated. Then on Christmas Day, I watched Batman Returns, which is Tim Burton's Batman Returns, which stars Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Danny DeVito. That is an 8 out of 10 for me. I think Tim Burton is like one of those directors that you can just like, he understands Batman, at least from the aesthetics of Gotham City. And it's not really a Batman film. it's more of the Penguin and Catwoman film, at least when it comes to the arcs. But visually, the dialogue as well is very good, and it has a good amount of campiness and dark tones. You know, it really has a great amalgamation of many things, which I really love. And Danny Elfman's Batman 1989 Return score is my favorite Batman theme of all time, and I just think it's just so incredible. Now, I also rewatched the Batman, which I spoke about more in the last episode, so go and check that out. But 10 out of 10, best film of 2022 for me. I rewatched the original Terminator with my dad, 9 out of 10. Thought it's a great classic sci-fi film. I mean, considering it was only had $6 million budget. What they did was really good. I loved how they used stop motion for the Terminator as well. I thought it made it look more terrifying, and it's just a great action film from the 80s. Then I watched Bullet Train, which I would say is like a 1980s action film in modern day. I gave that a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a really fun film. I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson did an amazing job as Tangerine. He was my favorite part of the film. Some of the dialogue and some of the callbacks were really, really cool. Thomas the Tank Engine, I thought that was great. Some of the action as well was funny, and just how the overall story all fits together was really good. And I thought it was more than just a generic action film. A good time was the breakout role, I think, for Robert Pattinson with Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves watched Good Time, and that's when he decided to cast Robert. And I thought, if anyone gives Robert Pattinson shit for Twilight, oh, excuse my language, like seriously, like just don't, like seriously, like watch A Good Time. I thought it was such a great film. Directed by the Safdie brothers, who also directed Uncut Gems, which I think both of those films, Good Time and Uncut Gems, are just they're such tough watches because they're just so intense. And I love the Safdie brothers film style with the film grain, and it's very much handheld and very immersive, and they just do an amazing job with this film. So I really enjoyed that. A Good Time, I gave a 9 out of 10, sorry. Then I watched The Grand Budapest Hotel, which is a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a really fun, creative film. I just love the symmetry, directed by Wes Anderson. Just some of the comedic beats and the timing was really good. And just his color palette is just so creative from a visual standpoint. And I just thought the pacing of the film was really good as well. I would definitely like to rewatch it. I thought it was really good. Watched Baby Driver, directed by Edgar Wright. Now, this film I thought was really good. Again, 7 out of 10. And 7 out of 10 isn't bad, but I thought it was such a good film. Like, I loved John Hamm, and I loved the build up to his character when his wife, saying, you never want to see red in his eyes, and then they execute that with the red lighting later on in the film. And then Jamie Foxx did a great job, and Kevin Spacey I thought did good. But I think the reason why it's 7 out of 10, even though it was really well filmed, there's no creative film style when it comes to color palette, if you get what I mean. That's not a diss to Edgar Wright or the cinematography, as I thought it was very well done. But what I mean is just, it looks like a basic film, and that's not a bad thing. That's what it was intended for. But for someone who just loves their visuals, I thought that if the visuals were a little less simple, then it could be a lot higher, because the intensity and the story I did think was really good. Now, this film I thought did capture some of the things that Baby Driver didn't, and that was Drive. So Drive stars Ryan Gosling, and this film, very much like A Good Time, they both have simple premises, but they're executed really well. So with Drive, it has that simplistic style, but what I mean is that it really draws you in with that look, and it feels like it's a Michael Mann film. So it feels very much like Collateral or Heat. So it feels like it's a classic film set in LA. And I thought the film style was really good with the film grain, and they just made simple LA just look really beautiful and cinematic. Now, this was my first proper film watching Ryan Gosling act, and I thought he did an amazing job. I really loved his character. And again, it just shows you that films can just have a simple plot line and premise, but when it's executed so well, can just be really, really good. And I thought it was just just an amazing film. So that was again 9 out of 10. Now after that dark film, I decided to watch an anime film, which is My Neighbor Totoro. Now this film, it was my least favorite, which was a 5 out of 10, just because it's not my kind of film. I thought we would have seen more of Totoro, which is the big bunny bear creature that you see. And you don't really spoil that. You don't see it in too much. And I think that I know it's anime and it's style. Like, there's some really nice shots and stuff, but I think there were some bits and I was like, oh, that's a little bit annoying because I think there was like one bit when the child's crying and it's just like really kind of jarring and you're just like, oh gosh, that's a bit much. And I didn't understand the emotional message, I guess. But I just thought that again, it's probably a good film if you love anime and understand it more than I do. But I just think I was a little bit underwhelmed. So I thought Totoro would have been in it more. But still, I thought it was decent. Just average. Then The Gentleman, directed by Guy Ritchie, starring Matthew McConaughey, Colin Farrell, and Hugh Grant, and many others. But those three are the standouts of the cast. An amazing film. Love rewatching it. It's a British cult classic. I watched this in the cinema with my dad, and I have to say, the dialogue and just the whole story is just so entertaining, so funny to watch, and it's just such a good film, and I love it. And as I promised Jess, I did watch Wednesday. I binge watched it. Now, I'm a man of my word, as Heath Ledger Joker once said. Now, I would give this show a 7. I was going between 6.5 and 7 out of 10. Then this is considering the whole show, which is 8 episodes, which are all around 40, 50 minutes. So that's a lot of content. Now, I thought General Ortega, just even watching people react to her, even after watching the show, I love her more and more as Wednesday. I thought she did a phenomenal job, as well as I thought some of the younger cast did a great job. It was also nice to see a character called Xavier, who also has their hair tied like me, because I'm always used to film characters being, was it Charles Xavier from the X-Men? So it's nice to have someone else. But yeah, no, I love what Tim Burton did. Again, his gothic style, I adore. And I thought the casting of the Wednesday, her family, the Adams, was really good, and with the chemistry. And I thought that some of the twists and turns and General Ortega's dancing and that iconic, well, it will be iconic scene was great. I think the only reason why I've knocked it down to a 6.5 or 7 was because I thought the finale was a little bit anticlimactic, at least for what they were building it up for. And I think they did rush it a bit, which is a shame. And there were some bits when I thought, like, what is it called? The CGI didn't look that great, and it was just a bit much like, that's it kind of thing. But I think that, again, that middle part of the show where there were very much twists and turns was just very well executed. And I still think it's a great show to binge watch. I loved binge watching it, but I think it was just the ending was a bit much like, okay, there you go, and now it's gone kind of thing. No spoilers, of course. Now, this one might be controversial, but I did watch John Wick, and I would give that a 6 out of 10. So, John Wick, again, everyone knows this, but the reason why I gave it a 6 out of 10 was because, well, first of all, I have a small dog, and seeing the dog die in the film was heartbreaking. I can't lie. It's very sad. Now, I know that that's a part of the story, but I think as well, I think the reason why I gave it 6 out of 10 was because there were some emotional scenes and there was some great dialogue done by Keanu Reeves, but I just kind of said to myself, there wasn't enough of that. Like, I really wish there was more of his emotional dialogue saying about how his dog was the only thing that was keeping him going, or was just something that you could root for him more with. But I think there was a couple of good, there was a couple of cool action sequences, as well as some good bit of framing. Like, there's a monologue, and you have John Wick going down to the basement, which many of you guys know is a really cool scene. But I think other than a couple of coolest shots like that, the film doesn't really have a style, and it's just a kind of generic action film, to say the least. Like, it's just a simple revenge plot, and I just think that I did think it was good. I really do, but I'm not dissing it by any means. But I just wish we could have just seen more of John Wick, like some of like more of his emotional scenes to like really like make you root for him more, even though you already root for him enough. So yeah, I watched that, and then I just did watch the first 2 episodes of Bad Batch season 2, which is the Star Wars animated show. And it's good. It is more designated for younger audiences, but there are elements of when they go a bit more dark, which I prefer because then it just really adds to the story more. But I thought for the first 2 episodes, I thought they were fun. If someone asked me, I'd probably give them a 6 out of 10, 5.5, 6 out of 10. But yeah, that's all I've watched recently. And please tell me in the comment section down below, what do you guys think of my opinions and everything like that? But I know it was a lot. But as I said, I did catch up. But now, after all of that, we're on to the main segment of today's video, which is our top 5 most anticipated films and shows for 2023. So as you know, in the last episode, we did our favorite films and shows of 2022. But now we're getting into, it's a new year, so we're getting into some new media. So we're first of all going to start off with honorable mentions. So Jess, would you like to talk about your honorable mentions?
So my one and very much only honorable mention is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is coming out this year. I'm somewhat excited for this one because I'm going to give this show a chance. I'm going to give this franchise a chance. Because if I'm honest with you guys, I really liked the first film. It was a really funny film. I was really intrigued at what they'd do next with it, if they'd make it into some sort of franchise, which they did end up doing. But when they brought out the second one, it was so anticlimactic. Not really the funniest. Didn't really beat the first film, and just overall wasn't my favorite. So it kind of made me lose a bit of faith for Guardians of the Galaxy, and I actually built this really negative opinion of it. So that's why it's not in my top 5 most anticipated of the year. It's just, I don't know, it's one of those franchises that they made it look worse by making another film. Like, if they stuck to just the first one, I think it would have been so much better. Or if they did the second one better and made it more funny, less ridiculous. It was a bit over the top. I think too much went on, really, in one film. I don't know, from memory. It was a while back that I watched it, but I mean, I don't know, just not a fan really. I'm just intrigued if this third one is going to be better, if it's going to be funnier, or if it's going to like reboot my opinions of the franchise, considering I enjoyed the first one. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of giving it a bit of a chance here, really. But yeah, Zavi, you have any opinions on Guardians of the Galaxy?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, Jess. I mean, to be honest with you, I remember getting the first Guardians of the Galaxy film for Christmas, and I remember just loving it so much. Like, I loved how James Gunn brought a group of Marvel characters, which even like weren't that well known in the general public, even in the comic books, and he made them so iconic very quickly. And I thought the first Guardians of the Galaxy film is a great and solid Marvel film.
Mm.
And yeah, I remember watching the second one in cinema, and was it 2017? And I thought that, yeah, I thought the opening was great, and there was, James Gunn does have some cool creative techniques, and I know what he was trying to do with the whole story. But yeah, very much like a lot of the jokes didn't hit, and then I think a lot of the things just got built up too much. So when it just got to like, oh, do I really like this kind of stuff? And it's a shame. Like, I thought there was like some, the father and son bonding thing, and that, stuff like that. But I just thought like the overall thing was just a bit out of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it had good moments in, but I think compared to a film overall, the first one did a way more solid job. But yeah, I am somewhat intrigued for the third film, because it looks like will have a lot of emotional beats.
Mm.
Um, which, you know, like there's a lot of implications that some of the Guardians will die, and it is some of their final films. And I think, I'm not gonna lie, that trailer did get me quite like, oh dang, okay. And then like when Groot says at the end of the trailer, when he says, I am Groot, and you know, the music's playing,
Mm.
I can't lie, I did get goosebumps when Drax threw the threw the dodgeball at that character's head. I thought that was funny. But yeah, I mean, I've just, as I've said many times, I've really just gone off Marvel. I just think in some ways they've become like a fast food restaurant, that they're just more quantity over quality, which is a shame.
Mm.
Um, and I also just, I hate the new Guardians of the Galaxy ship. I'm sorry, I despise that. Oh gosh, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm intrigued to see what James Gunn does. And if I go, you know, if a group of friends would like to go and watch it, you know, like with you, Jess, or, you know, our
Yeah.
group, then yeah, I'll go and watch it. But it's not a film I'm going to go out of my way to go and watch just by myself. As I've said, I thought the first Guardians of the Galaxy film was very good. Second one had good moments, but not as solid as the first. And I think I think it's quite overrated to some degree. But
Mm.
I am still intrigued to see what this film may hold, because if James Gunn does nail the emotional beats very well, then I'm sure it will be a great film, because I love it when Marvel films are just more than just a generic action film. Like, I really hope there's a lot of emotional weight in this film, and I hope there's some really good payoffs to these characters.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, it's one of those films. Looking forward to it, hoping it'll be funny, and I'll
Mm.
definitely go and watch it because I think it will make for a good review on my reviews account, which is again in the description below. You should go follow it. Yeah. Anyway, Matthew, do you want to talk about
All
your
mentions.
honorable mentions?
So I thank you. Yeah, so I have a multiple. Well, first one, I'm going to mention one straight off the bat, but I don't know if it's coming out in 2022. But I am very anticipated to the Penguin show, which is a spin-off of the Batman universe starring Colin Farrell. I think they're meant to be filming in February, but I doubt it will come out before the end of the year. I think it will come out around mid 2024, to be completely honest with you. But just in case if it does come out this year, I am just going to put that there. I'm looking forward to Star Wars Visions, which is season two, which is like a limited series where multiple different anime companies make different Star Wars stories. Now, season one, there were a lot of hits and misses, I think, but when they had some of the episodes that hit really hard, I thought it was so cool to see some really dope Star Wars anime, to be honest with you, just to see some like really cool effects with the lightsabers and some of the action, and just the overall atmosphere. I thought some of them were really good. I thought some of them were quite sweet stories. And there were a couple when I just genuinely said to myself, I really didn't like that. So I'm intrigued with that. I am intrigued. I'd be more excited to know that I think of the first season, the first episode of season one was like it's a lovely like black and white anime, but then like blast of fire and the lightsabers were like colored, so it really made it pop and it was really cool and vibrant. So if they have more stuff like that anime style, then yes, that I'm very much looking forward to. Now, this one is very interesting, but I don't know why. I am intrigued for Scream 6. I know that's not the official title. It's called Scream Roman numeral 6. Now, from someone who, from a very young age, Ghostface terrified me when I was 8. My dad got the Empire magazine. Scream 4 was coming out at the time. That mask gave me nightmares for years because it's just so like realistic. I think with horror, those are the things I find terrifying, was how easy it could be done. All it takes is one crazy person who's watched too many horror films, has a knife, has a costume, and has a couple of phones and knows what to do. But the reason why I'm intrigued for this is because um, I, I don't know why. Like, I'm just kind of, from what I've seen from the images, and I love it's set in New York City, so that's going to be interesting to see how some of the kills may go down. Apparently, it's meant to be way more gory. Um, and I also like General Ortega and Scream 5. I thought it was just an average film, to be honest. Not that incredible.
Mm.
To be honest with you, I haven't watched all the Scream films properly except from Scream 5. But I don't know why. I'm just kind of up to just seeing how it plays out, because I think there's a lot of unique elements. Like, they have like some old ghost face masks from like, like they show like a worn down ghost face mask. That kind of intrigues me because it looks like they're trying to spice up the franchise a bit from the normal Scream formula, which I am interested to see. But Jess, you are more of a horror fan than I am, and you have watched all the Scream films, I believe, or a majority of them. So, um, what's your opinion on the Scream franchise as a whole? Quickly.
I'm a massive, massive fan of Scream. I always loved the other movies. All the way up until I saw Scream 5, which that was a shit show. Excuse my language. That was not it. Really not it. I think it just didn't work. It put a different spin on Scream, and I just didn't like it. It was boring. It was repetitive. It was predictable. Just didn't like it. So yeah, I am looking forward to Scream 6 just because I feel like they might make this one a bit better. But
Mm,
we shall see.
yeah,
It's in my top 5 anticipated, but very, very low down. Which if you keep listening, you will be able to find out where I place Scream 6.
indeed. Indeed. Yeah, no, I do understand. I think one thing with the Scream franchise is it's so tough to keep old fans happy, but then
Mm.
also to intrigue new fans because it's the first film without Nev Campbell, which is the final girl in the franchise who's been in all the films to this point. And I think that with with Scream, like fan theories and the fandom, like just watching YouTube videos, I see how split it is. So it's so tough to make a majority of the Scream franchise happy. So I think I'm also just interested to see how people do take this film.
Yeah.
And also the Halloween franchise has ended, even though I didn't watch Halloween Ends. We know Michael will be back one day for a reboot. But yeah, I'm just intrigued to see, hopefully a fun, gory slasher film. And then my final honorable mention is Barbie. So now there's the funny meme going on with Barbie being on the same release date as Oppenheimer. Now Barbie has Margot Robbie in as well as Ryan Gosling and Simu Lee, who's Shang Chi. Great cast. And the reason why I'm intrigued is not because of well, like a lot of people may think, oh, Margot Robbie, you're just intrigued because of her. Her looks aside, she's an amazing actress, and I'm so intrigued to see this film because I've just heard the like Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie say that like this is the best screenplay they've ever read, and from the first trailer that they are taking inspiration from 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I haven't seen. It's just I'm really intrigued to see what this film will be about. It looks like it'll be fun. It looks like it'll be creative, and I'm just really intrigued to see what they do with this film. And if someone's to ask me, am I team Barbie or team Oppenheimer? I am team Barbie. Even though I think Oppenheimer looks good, but yeah, Barbie is my honorable mention, my final honorable mention. But now we're getting to the nitty and gritty stuff, which is the top 5. So number 5 will be the least anticipated, even though it's still a good list, to number 1, which will be our most anticipated. So, Jess, would you like to lead us off with your number 5?
Yeah, so this is the film you've been waiting to hear where it places in my top 5. My number 5 most anticipated film of 2023 is Scream 6. Now, as I said, I wasn't impressed at number 5. They should have stopped at number 4. But to be honest, I love Scream. I love the franchise. So let's see what they do with this thing, because you never know what they could pull out the bag, you know? But yeah, what's your number 5, Savvy?
So my number 5 is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So this is the 5th film in the Indiana Jones franchise, the only one that hasn't been directed from Steven Spielberg. So I've watched the first 2, and then I've watched number 4. The only one I haven't watched was The Last Crusader, which is the third film, which stars Sean Connery in. I would love to rewatch I love to watch all the Indiana Jones films. But the reason why I'm interested with this was because, I mean, it's Harrison Ford. I love him as Han Solo. I just love watching him. And I think he's just also very iconic as Indiana Jones. But I think he's more iconic as Han Solo. There we go. That's my opinion. But I'm interested with this film because after the first trailer, um, they have some de-aging in this film, which I'm just gonna say looks fantastic. Which
Hmm.
de-aging can be very much hit and miss, and all things considering, fair play to whoever's doing the de-aging. There are a couple of shots where the CGI looked questionable, but I'm intrigued for this film because um, Harrison Ford, for a guy who's very much stubborn and who doesn't really give a shit um, about things, just seeing him on stage talk about Indiana Jones and almost break down in tears just actually shows you he does care about these characters, and it is nice to see that he does care that much about Indy. I'm also intrigued because Mads Mikkelsen is in the film. Again, one of my favorite actors, so I'm really interested to see how his role plays out. But I think this is the last film for Indiana Jones, for Harrison Ford. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in it as well. I think the only thing I'm concerned about is that they may go the certain route that I think a lot of people may not be happy with. I don't know. It's intriguing. But as someone who's not the biggest Indiana Jones fan, I thought that trailer was just really good. Just hearing the remix of the John Williams score and just seeing old Harrison and everything. I think it could be a really, really fun film. So the Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny is my number 5. But Jess, what is your number 4?
This is interesting. I put Indiana Jones at my number 4. So the reason
Mm.
I put it above Scream 6 is purely because I've known Indiana Jones as a franchise a lot longer than Scream. I started watching it from a very, very young age. I've always been a massive, massive fan of Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford. Loved him in Star Wars, loved him in Indiana Jones. Couldn't choose either roles. Like I couldn't choose between the two, to be honest, which one is my favorite. But I just love the concepts. I love the films. I love the franchises. And yeah, no, I'm looking forward to what they do with this because in my opinion they should have just stuck with what already existed. They shouldn't, in my opinion, they shouldn't really be making this this last film or what could be the last one. Like I just don't think it should exist, but at the same time I'm super intrigued and actually more intrigued about Indiana Jones than I am Scream 6 because yeah, overall I don't know. I've always loved Indiana Jones, actually more so than I've loved Scream. So we'll see what they do with it. I can't wait, to be honest, because they could do anything. It could be disappointing, but it could be absolutely brilliant and a nice little finish to Harrison Ford's run as Indiana Jones. But yeah, that's my number 4. What's yours, Savvy?
Well, before we go into my number 4, I would also just like to mention I think that, as you said, a lot of people are probably saying, "Oh gosh, why do we need Indiana Jones 5?" But in all fairness, Crystal Skull was a little bit of a dull note and is considered the worst film out of the 4 original. So I
Yeah.
think that is it. I think I'm happy that they're giving Indiana Jones 5 a go, just to so it's somewhat better than 4, so we can all leave it on a high note
Yeah.
and everything. So
Mm.
I completely understand it's a big risk, but I think I'm glad they're taking that risk compared to leaving it on 4.
Mm.
But talking about 4, um, my number 4 spot is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I was blown away by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I really didn't expect it to be as good compared to how it was. And I can just say I thought it was amazing. The animation style was so cool. The story, it was such an amazing Spider-Man story. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Stanley said he's the best, and I respect Tom Holland and his films, and they were like, but for me, they were MCU films with Spider-Man moments in, and I think even No Way Home only became a Spider-Man film after the halfway point. So it was really nice just to be blown away by a film that's just nothing but Spider-Man, and I think that the animation style and just hearing what went into the film with how the frame rate of Miles Morales was different towards everyone else was because he didn't know who he was yet. So like just small creative little things like that just blow me away. And I just love Miles Morales as a character. I love his suit from the first film, and I just thought it was just it just did a phenomenal job, and I thought it was great. And the reason why it's number four is because there are three more things I am more excited for. But again, the first trailer has been out for a little bit of time now, and I am really intrigued to see where this story goes. And the animation looks really cool. And it's got a lot to live up to with the first film. But I think from the animation standpoint alone, and the fact that we won't get to see another live action Spider-Man film for a decent amount of time, I am very excited for and intrigued to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But now, Jess, what is your number three pick?
Oh, this is an exciting one. My number three is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now, that's an interesting title if I ever did see one. Intrigued. I get songbirds, but snakes? What are they gonna do with snakes? It's either a metaphor or it's they're
Mm.
gonna use physical snakes. And I'm intrigued.
Or
Very
both. Or both.
both, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I've always loved the Hunger Games. It's not my favorite franchise, but I do love it. Love the concept. Again, it's another film franchise that I just love the concept that it'll like the challenge the characters go through. I love like having a connection with the characters and then watching them go through something and these types of concept are the kind of in my opinion, the best way to show that. And I've loved Hunger Games since it first came out. And I went to watch the first one as soon as it came out and loved it from then on. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one. Didn't think they were going to bring out another one, but they are, and I'm very intrigued. I can't wait to see what they do this time round because I feel like with the other films, like I feel like they covered all the bases with the concept, but I wonder what they're going to pull out the bag this time. Bit intriguing, if I'm honest. Can't wait to see it. And that's why I'm more excited about it than I am the other two. And that's why it's on my number three.
Lovely. Lovely. Now, my number three. Now, this film, I have put in brackets. Technically, it's a 2022 release, but it doesn't come out in the UK till February 3rd. Now, this film is produced by A24 Films, and this film is The Whale, starring Brandon Fraser, and it's his big return to Hollywood. And what gets me so intrigued with this film is just from the first, like, from the trailers, it just seems like it's just going to be such a heartbreaking film, and I think that um, it I don't know how to describe it. It just really captivates me to go and watch this film because I don't have that much nostalgia for Brendan Fraser. I saw his trailers of him being in The Mummy, and I knew he was in Tarzan, but I never knew what happened to him because obviously he disappeared from Hollywood for a while because he got injured because he did all of his own stunts, and he was meant to be in the Batgirl film, but we know what happened with that. But just I don't know how to describe it. His performance in the trailer alone is just so mind blowing, and the prosthetic work as well is just so good. And I think that whoever did the prosthetics for the whale, has a great chance of winning at the Oscars as well as the team who did the Batman with Colin Farrell's amazing prosthetic work. But even under all the prosthetics and stuff, Brendan just seems to I don't know how to describe it. He's just not Brendan Fraser, and I just think like when you can separate the character from the actor, they've done an amazing job. And I think that I don't know, at the end of the second trailer, he says I need to know I've done one thing right with my life, and he's breaking down, and bloody hell, it hits so hard. And I just think that, granted, it'll probably be a really tough watch. Um, but other than that, I'm just really intrigued to watch this film because Brendan apparently he may be up there to win the Oscar as well as Austin Butler for Elvis. Um, but I always love a comeback story, and just to see a standing ovation as well, and just to see how grateful he was, bless him, breaking down in tears, and just showing how grateful he was for all of the love that people have given him. Um, like all of that just combined into just me being so excited for the film. Like I know it did come out in the USA in December of 2022, but I would love to see it. But again, it's so tough because these small films, the only A24 films that normally get shown in UK mainline cinemas are the horror films. So I really, really do hope that this film, I mean, as it does have some Oscar buzz, I really do hope it does get shown, as I would love to see this film. And even though I think it will be a really tough watch, and even though I think it will probably be a heartbreaking film, boy oh boy, Brendan Fraser's performance just looks phenomenal. And yeah, I would love to just go and watch that film. And I'll probably have to bring a tissue box with me, but I'm sure I'll still think it's an amazing film. So that is my number 3 spot.
Wow. I mean, now I'm gonna have to watch it because it does sound good. Pretty incredible. God, I'm gonna have to watch it, aren't I? There's so many things.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I haven't mentioned was that I think what also is so intriguing. Well, this is the synopsis. I'm just gonna give you the synopsis. It was released. It was more like, so Brendan Fraser's character, he's like really obese, and he's like on the edge of his life, and he really wants to reconnect to his daughter. And I just think that it's just so heartbreaking but heartwarming at the same time in that trailer. And it's just like a combination of just like your happy tears but sad tears. And I just think there's other performances from other actors that are getting praised for it, but Brendan is to stand out. And yeah, I just think it'll be a really sad but amazing film. So
It's gonna be a tearjerker.
yeah, it
Oh,
probably will be. It probably will be.
God, I'm gonna have to watch it though, because I don't usually watch emotional films. But
Mm.
I think this is one that sounds kind of impactful and very insightful as well. So yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it. But yeah, on to number 2. My number 2 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, the fact they've made this a part 1 really annoys me because I'm a huge fan of Mission Impossible, always have been. I love the fact Tom Cruise does his own stunts, and oh my god, oh, just love the films. But part 1, don't leave me on a cliffhanger till part 2. Put it all in one. Like I know it's the penultimate film, and that's really sad. And I'm glad that they're pushing it to a 2-parter, so then there can be 2 more films. But oh, it's so annoying. I just want to see it all in one because I'm really looking forward to the main kind of big stunt that Tom's gonna do in the film. I'm looking forward to just seeing that in the film because I've seen behind the scenes of how they did it, and it is just incredible how they captured it, and I just cannot wait to see it from a cinematography kind of point of view because it's just so intriguing, so cool how they like pull off these incredible stunts. And I think this is going to be one of his biggest stunts, I'm pretty sure.
It's the biggest stunt he's ever done.
Yeah. So terrifying, but blooming amazing. Jesus, the guy has balls. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that film, and that is why it's at my number 2. Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait. And thank you for doing your own stunts. Please continue and don't make this the penultimate. Make more. Make more, please.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're very excited about it. Now, the reason why I missed my honorable mentions and most anticipated is because I haven't watched all the Mission Impossible films for a while. I remember, even though this one gets apparently is one of the worst, I actually loved Mission Impossible 2 when I was younger. I loved the slow mo. I loved how dramatic it was. I loved the white doves. Um, and then the third one, I know my dad loves because of Philip Senior Hoffman, who's a great villain in the film. And I know that in the sixth film, I watched a bit of it with my parents, and I remember Henry Cavill was in it, and he does the reload with his arms, which is so cool. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss him so much as Superman. Oh my lord. Um, but yeah, no. The reason why, as I said, I'm not as anticipated was because I haven't. Yeah, I need to rewatch all the Mission Impossible films, and I think that I love Tom Cruise as Maverick and I think that like I know Top Gun more than I do the Mission Impossible franchise, so I need to definitely rewatch them in the end, for the build up. And I'm 100% sure they will pull an Avengers Infinity War or Empire Strikes Back when the heroes will lose, and one of the main characters will go. I'm sure that is definitely probably guaranteed. But now my number two is the only series that's on the actual list, and that is The Mandalorian season 3. Now, The Mandalorian, I think, is just the best Star Wars show. Now, I think that Andor. A lot of people could say Andor is better, and I understand, but I would say Andor's better from a film point of view and TV show point of view, just in general. But The Mandalorian feels like more Star Warsy, and I loved The Mandalorian season 1. I think that out of the Disney era, only The Mandalorian, Rogue One, and then bringing back the Clone Wars have been like the big home runs for me. And I thought season 1 was great and original. Season 2 had a good use of bringing back some familiar faces with the characters and giving them some time to shine, which I loved. And then season 3, I'm just really anticipated. To be honest with you, it could be even number 1. It's more just like just having the thought of just seeing the Mando himself, Din Djarin, with Grogu, aka Baby Yoda again. It's just so exciting to know in my head, just to see the duo again, to have some cute, funny scenes, to have some amazing action scenes. We're meant to be getting more Mandalore. And it's hinted that Bo-Katan will be the villain of the show, of this season at least. So I am very, very intrigued, as we don't know so much about it. But boy, oh boy, I'm just excited just to see where this season goes, because I think that other than Andor, as I've mentioned, the Book of Boba Fett and Kenobi were just they had so much potential, and I think that they missed quite a lot for me as a Star Wars fan. But I think that The Mandalorian has so much potential to just do so much. And I'm just really intrigued to see where it goes in the season. And that is my number 2. Now, Jess, on to the big one. Number 1. What is your most anticipated film or show for 2023?
So, you probably guessed this already. It is, if you've listened to the other episodes of the podcast, my top anticipated show of 2023 is Loki season 2. Hell yeah, we love Loki. I love Loki. I love Loki so much. Zavi got me a Christmas present, Funko Pop, of Loki, which I absolutely love. I'm currently staring at it. It's amazing. So thank you, Zavi. But yeah,
no worries.
As you can tell, I love Loki, and that is why it's my number 1. And I just cannot wait for season 2. It's gonna be so good. I'm incredibly intrigued at the involvement of McDonald's. What's going on there with Sylvie dressed as a McDonald's worker? Don't know what's going on with that. Are they going back in time because it was supposedly a 70s outfit from McDonald's? Don't know. Let's see what's going to happen this summer because I think it's summertime that it's meant to be coming out in the UK. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But we've just had recent news that Loki and Sylvie will not be the most important relationship feature in this season. But we ended season one with Rose Ravonna meeting Kang the Conqueror, and they obviously hit it off a bit. So we know that they have now met each other, and they're kind of there are a couple of characters that will appear together in season two, but we've just found out that they are most likely going to be the most important relationship. So obviously, yeah, it's very exciting. Can't wait to see what they do with that. Are they going to completely conquer the whole timeline and the TVA and everything? Like, I wonder how much power they're going to be given in this season. And I can't wait, considering Loki and Sylvie aren't the most important couple. I can't wait to see how much they appear, because obviously Loki is the main character and Sylvie is the main side character. But is there going to be a complete role reversal with Rose Ravonna and Kang? Like, we don't know what we're gonna see here, and I cannot wait to see what they do with it. Considering they're putting Sylvie in McDonald's apparently, I wonder what they're doing with that as well, and I cannot wait to see. Is it going to be over the top? Possibly, and it might not be as good as season one, but we'll see. We'll see. I can't wait to see it. I love Loki, and I don't think I'll ever change that opinion unless it turns out to be horrendous. So yeah, I can't wait for it to come out, and I just want this part of the year to go really quickly so I get to see season two ASAP. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Put in the comments below, what are your thoughts on Loki, and are you excited for season two? But yeah, Xavi, what is your number one anticipated show or film of 2023?
Well, Jess, my number one most anticipated film is The Flash. So now there's been so much drama with this film. Oh my gosh, with Ezra Miller and just everything going on, with that, and then the whole DC takeover. And with the year of DC films that we're having with Shazam, as well as The Flash, and Blue Beetle, and Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, they pretty much don't matter now because currently, as I've stated, James Gunn and Peter Safran, Peter Safran have made a new plan for DC. So all these films really don't matter. But I would say The Flash does matter because it is a multiversal film. And why I'm so excited for this film is because we have the return of Michael Keaton as Batman, who played Batman in Batman from Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, directed by Tim Burton, which I love those films. Again, the gothic atmosphere, as I mentioned, is just impeccable, and I love Michael Keaton as Batman, and I love his musical score. I love his Batmobile. I love his suit. Oh gosh. When I remember when like there was rumors that he could be back, I was like, holy shit, yes, yes, yes. This is I'm just super excited and I'm really intrigued. And then also it's Ben Affleck's final film as Batman, and they even filmed up in Glasgow. I remember when set images came out, and there's meant to be an action scene, which I'm really looking forward to. And I think it'll be nice that we get to see a farewell to Ben. And I think that this film, even though it's coming out like the 16th of June, DC have not had as much. This is one of them. Warner Brothers are so confident in this film. We're saying they think it's going to be close to the Dark Knight, which is a massive bar to compare it to. To be completely honest with you, and the fact that they're going to release a trailer for the film in the Super Bowl in February, when Shazam has come out the next month, and it's quite ironic that they're going to promote a film that's coming out, 4 months after when they have another film coming out. after the Super Bowl next month. So it's just so exciting to hear how invested Warner Brothers are. And I know that for a while, with all this Ezra Miller controversy and stuff, that they may have like scrapped the film completely, but I know they've invested so much money into it. And I'm just so excited. I'm just so intrigued. Like Warner Brothers saying it's the best superhero film since The Dark Knight is just, it's such a bold statement, and I really can't believe it. And this film just sounds bonkers in itself. And I'm not going to go into spoilers on who else is in the film and what else is rumored, but it just sounds like it can just be such a fun multiversal film. Now, I didn't watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but I heard many people just say it was average and didn't really think it was a multiversal film. And I'm just really intrigued because even though DC can be very rocky and up and down with everything that it's been through, which has been exhausting as a DC fan, I can say it's just every day there's a new piece of news, there's a new report, there's a new rumor, someone's been fired, someone's been recast. You're like, holy, what's going on? Like it's never not stuff going on with DC. And it's just so like interesting to hear that an actor who's caused arguably so much stress for the company because of everything he's done, like being arrested a couple of times and this and that, like everyone's just like, oh gosh, oh no, like what's actually gonna happen? Because he's causing so much controversy when this film is around 230 million to make. And Warner Brothers can't just like do what they did with Batgirl, which was 90 million. They can't do that with the Flash. And like, even though that DC film, even though it's a multiversal film, I think it does matter for that sake. And I don't know if they will imply anything, linking to the new James Gunn, universe. I don't know. But as a DC fan, I'm just so excited to see Michael Keaton come back as Batman. And even though like I wasn't a massive fan of Ben Affleck as Batman first, I've really grown to appreciate him as Batman. To be honest with you, I wish we saw more of him. And he's going to have a nice send-off in the film. So I'm really intrigued just to see him for one last time. And again, to hear that Warner Brothers, even though this film has been dragged through the mud, to just hear how confident they are to put this trailer on the Super Bowl advert, which costs millions to put a trailer up on the Super Bowl, just shows you just like, oh my gosh, this film can actually be really, really good. And that's what I'm excited about. And yeah, so The Flash is my number one most anticipated film of 2023. And on that note, we have completed our list. But by all means, if you would like to let us know in the comment section down below, what is your most anticipated top 5 films and shows of 2023? We would love to hear your opinions in the comments.
Yeah, definitely. And share your opinions on everything we've said this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a massive thumbs up if you have. And also subscribe if you haven't already.
Of course, as well as please smash that notification bell so you get notified every time we make a new video. It's a new year, peeps. We're ready. We're going to bring you more content and we are more than excited to do that. So please let us know in the comment section down below. And here's to 2023.
Yes, Happy New Year. And let's do this thing. 2023. Woo woo. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.